You're watching US Market Free. Top stock market headlines made simple. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support us for daily updates. Here are the brief highlights of today's top stories. Google stock jumps 8% after search giant avoids worst-case penalties in antitrust case. The US makes it harder for TSMC, SK Hynix and Samsung to produce chips in China. Fed Governor Lisa Cook did not ever commit mortgage fraud, her lawyer says. Trump will ask Supreme Court for expedited ruling on tariffs appeal. UK has weeks to solve fiscal puzzle as it sets date for autumn budget. China's Xi says the world faces peace or war as Trump claims Beijing conspiring against US. In photos, China's military might on display with Putin and Kim Jong in attendance. What Trump's tariff loss in court means for shippers and the billions in trade duties collected by US government. Gringos leave protests targeting travelers rise as overtourism anger grows. Jim Cramer explains how to handle Tuesday's market decline. There's a golden opportunity to pay 0% capital gains under Trump's big beautiful bill, experts say. CNBC Daily Open. One part of the market might actually benefit from tariffs. Asia markets close mixed as tariff concerns weigh. Australia's GDP expands more than expected, fastest pace since September 2023. Apple shares rise after judge rules Google can continue preload deals in antitrust case. Now, let's dive deeper into the details. Alphabet shares rose 8% after a judge ruled against the harshest penalties in the Google antitrust case.
Investors reacted positively to the decision, viewing it as a win for Google.
Last year, Google was found to have an illegal monopoly in internet search.
The Department of Justice had proposed severe penalties, including forcing Google to sell its Chrome browser.
However, Judge Amit Mehta rejected those proposals.
The judge stated that forcing the sale of Chrome or the Android operating system was excessive.
The parties involved are expected to meet by September 10 to finalize the judgment.
The original ruling against Google occurred in August 2024.
The United States has revoked an export waiver for Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, limiting its chip production in China.
This impacts equipment and technology exports to Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company's Nanjing plant.
The waiver removal ends a fast-track export privilege, impacting Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company starting December 31.
Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company previously held this exemption after initial United States restrictions in 2022.
Now, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company needs United States export licenses for chip-making tools sent to Nanjing.
Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company is working with the United States government to ensure continued operations in Nanjing.
South Korean chipmakers SK Hynix and Samsung also lost similar export privileges.
Both companies operate memory chip facilities in China.
Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook did not commit mortgage fraud, according to her lawyer Abby Lowell.
This statement was part of a court filing arguing against President Donald Trump's attempt to fire her.
Lowell argues that Cook's statements on mortgage applications do not justify her termination.
He highlighted that multiple government entities, including the White House, knew about her mortgage details before her 2022 confirmation.
Lowell stated the government has long been aware of the alleged inconsistencies in Cook's financial documents.
He argues these mortgage applications cannot be a legitimate basis for her firing.
Lowell believes Trump's real motivation is pressuring the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates.
He pointed to Trump's public statements demanding lower rates.
Former President Trump will ask the Supreme Court to expedite a ruling on his appeal regarding tariffs.
An appeals court delayed the effect of its ruling until October 14 to allow time for this appeal.
The United States Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit ruled that President Trump did not have the authority to implement most of his tariffs.
Trump stated his intention to go to the Supreme Court, citing the need for a quick decision.
He believes the financial fabric of the United States is at stake.
Trump attributed Tuesday's stock market decline to the Friday ruling.
He believes the stock market benefits from these tariffs.
The tariffs in question were implemented under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act.
The United Kingdom Treasury announced Finance Minister Rachel Reeves will deliver the autumn budget on November 26.
This budget comes amid pressure to address the nation's fiscal challenges regarding spending, taxation, and borrowing.
The United Kingdom's borrowing costs have increased recently due to market concerns about the upcoming budget.
These concerns stem from how Reeves will meet her fiscal rules, aiming to fund daily spending through tax revenue rather than borrowing.
Economists believe Reeves will likely raise taxes to meet these rules and maintain some financial flexibility.
This flexibility, estimated around £10 billion, has already been impacted by reversed welfare spending cuts and higher borrowing costs.
Reeves has consistently rejected the idea of altering her fiscal rules on borrowing.
One economist predicts Reeves will need to increase revenue by £18 to £28 billion, mainly through tax increases.
Chinese President Xi Jinping stated the world faces a choice between peace or war.
He also highlighted the choice between dialogues or confrontation.
This statement was made during China's largest military parade.
The parade commemorates the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II.
Former United States President Donald Trump posted on Truth Social.
He urged Xi Jinping to recognize United States contributions to China's freedom.
Trump also alleged that China was conspiring against the United States.
Leaders from over 20 countries attended the parade in Beijing.
China marked 80 years since the end of World War II with a large military parade in Beijing.
President Xi Jinping hosted over 20 foreign leaders for the event.
Xi Jinping gave a speech and then reviewed the troops.
Kim Jong-un of North Korea and Vladimir Putin of Russia were among those present.
Western leaders were largely absent from the commemoration.
The parade displayed some of China's latest military technology.
Missiles, tanks, and other equipment were seen in Tiananmen Square.
The event concluded with the release of thousands of doves and balloons.
A federal appeals court recently ruled many of the Trump administration tariffs illegal.
This court decision throws into question billions of dollars in trade duties and trade deals.
Logistics professionals report the shipping industry remains unchanged for now.
Uncertainty continues to affect business decisions, according to Paul Brashear of its Logistics.
Shippers are waiting for the expected appeal to the Supreme Court.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent believes the Supreme Court will uphold the tariffs.
President Trump has requested an expedited ruling from the Supreme Court.
Companies are seeking clarity on the potential refund process, says Mike Short of C.H. Robinson.
Protests targeting travelers are increasing due to growing anger over overtourism.
A recent incident in Mexico City saw demonstrators damage property and shout slogans against foreigners.
This reflects a global trend of residents protesting the negative impacts of tourism.
These impacts include rising prices, driven by an influx of digital nomads and tourists.
Protests have become more frequent as tourism rebounds to pre-pandemic levels.
Residents often choose protests to raise public awareness and pressure governments to act.
They also protest due to frustration with fragmented tourism policymaking and perceived government inaction.
Residents' reactions to overtourism tend to escalate from tolerance to confrontation.
Many investors are unaware of the 0% capital gains bracket.
This bracket allows selling profitable assets without triggering taxes.
More investors may qualify for the 0% bracket due to new deductions for 2025.
This is a result of President Donald Trump's tax legislation.
This presents a good opportunity to sell investments at 0% capital gains.
Tommy Lucas, a certified financial planner, highlighted this opportunity.
Assets held for over 1 year qualify for long-term capital gains rates.
These rates are 0, 15, or 20%, based on taxable income.
President Donald Trump is seeking Supreme Court intervention to reinstate tariffs deemed illegal by a federal appeals court.
This follows a Tuesday stock market decline which the president attributed to the court ruling against the tariffs.
He claims the stock market needs tariffs, a statement contradicting market reactions to previous tariff announcements.
While his overall assertion is debatable, one area might benefit: Treasury bonds.
The 30-year bond yield neared 5% as investors sought higher returns.
This is due to concerns about the United States government's fiscal deficit potentially worsening without tariff revenue.
These concerns arise as the president continues to push for tariffs despite legal challenges.
This situation highlights the ongoing tension between the executive and judicial branches regarding trade policy.
Australia's economy grew faster than expected in the second quarter.
This marks the fastest pace of growth since September 2023.
The gross domestic product rose 1.8% year-over-year.
Economists polled by Reuters expected only 1.6% growth.
Growth was driven by domestic spending, including household and government consumption.
However, public demand remained flat due to a decrease in public investment.
Net trade contributed modestly to growth, led by exports of mining commodities.
Despite global uncertainty, the second quarter might represent peak growth for 2025.
Apple shares rose over 3% in extended trading Tuesday after a judge ruled Alphabet can continue payments to preload Google search onto the iPhone.
Although Apple was not a party in the search monopoly trial, The judge considered remedies that would bar Google from paying billions yearly to Apple.
These payments were for Google to be the default search engine on Safari on iPhones, Macs, and iPads.
Judge Amit Mehta wrote that Google will not be barred from making payments for placement of Google Search, Chrome, or its Gen AI products.
The judge wrote that cutting off payments from Google would likely impose substantial downstream harms to distribution partners, markets, and consumers.
The case focused on Google's dominance of the general search market and violations of the Sherman Act.
The judge stated Google will be barred from any exclusive contract related to preloading its search engine on devices.
The judge specified Google cannot bundle its Android services with Google Search or condition revenue share agreements on other Google apps.
That's a wrap on this episode of US Market Brief. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next time with more stock market updates, earnings highlights, and insights from Wall Street.